It's time again to see what projects the Ham Nation viewers have been working on. This is Randy, K7AGE. Let's take a look. Battery boxes are a very popular build with our Ham Nation viewers. This one is from Ken, KE8HZZ. He built his battery box out of one of these standard black plastic battery boxes, and in the lid he mounted a pair of power poles, a voltmeter, and a pair of USB jacks. He says 2 power pole connectors allows him to run either 2 radios or a radio, and he can connect in his solar panel. And in the base of the battery box, he can place different batteries depending on the capacity and how much weight he's willing to lug around. Nice job. Next is an interesting project from Kevin, VE9XYZ. He has picked up a Kenwood SW-2000 SWR meter. Now, these were very popular. It's a very nice meter, but it's now discontinued. But what makes this meter nice is that you can have 3 remote sensors. So you may be able to find the meter, but not the remote sensors. So he decided to build himself 2 remote sensors for the VHF UHF band. So he basically copied the Kenwood design, found an enclosure that was very similar in size, laid out the printed circuit boards and printed them and etched them himself. When he got all done, they were extremely accurate, SWR about 1.1 up through 460 megs or so. So a nice project of building some remote sensors. Bill, G4GHB, has built himself a power supply to power his new FT817ND radio. He said he started this about a year ago and forgot where he put the 12-volt regulator board. Well, he's since found the board and he's been working on the project. He says he's added some resistors to the board along with a toggle switch so he can run it in 13.6 volts to power the radio, or he can flip the switch and it will then regulate for 14.7, which he uses to charge an AGM battery. In April, Bill will be going to the Blackpool Rally, we call that a hamfest or a swap meet, looking for a thyristor to build a crowbar circuit. When he gets all done, he'll paint the top black and the front blue. Nice power supply. Bill also passed along some photos of some QRP transceivers that he's working on. This first one is 21 years old, and he's going to rebuild it and repackage it so he can add 60, 600, and 2200 meters to it. This is the Mark III version in a homemade box with everything squeezed in except for the bandpass filters. They were external, and he could also use them in other projects. It has a frequency synthesizer and push-button band switching. So Bill's working on the final layout. He's got a lot of boards in here. 9 bandpass filters, a G4 CLF board, a PA board, a CW filter kit, a band switching board, a speaker, an LED band switch indicator board. The chassis is homemade with 3 inches on the top and 1 inch underneath. The front panel will be 5 by 16.5 inches. What a major project. Kent, KC0QWL, has built himself a Morse code pen. He's modified it by putting some tape underneath the pocket clip so he can press on the pocket clip to send Morse code, although he says he needs to learn Morse code. And the pen still writes. Kind of clever little design. Should be useful for QRP portable work. Teme OH7T is working on an electronics workbench built from a repurposed TV shelf. He's refinished the top surface with lacquer. He says it's portable so he can set it on top of other work surfaces. And he's found some rubber bottle caps which he's using as feet. He says all the parts are recycled and repurposed. And he wants to add a portable vise, a better magnifying lamp, a work grid, and some USB power jacks. Everybody needs electronics workbench. Denis, N6DGM, has built himself a Raspberry Pi-based D-Star hotspot using a DV access point module. In the 3D printed case, which he designed using Tinkercad, and he printed on a monoprice maker select plus 3D printer is, of course, the Raspberry Pi, the batteries, and a battery charging module. And he's got four 18650 3400 milliamp lithium-ion cells, which provides about 6 hours of service. One of the neat things he's added to this is a momentary toggle switch. So when you push it in one position, it initiates a Raspberry Pi shutdown, and when you push it the other position, it tells the Raspberry Pi to boot up. And he would like to thank Tommy N5ZNO from Amateur Logic for the reset shutdown code, and Father Robert Ballister of Know-How on the Twit network for showing him how to properly charge and discharge lithium-ion batteries. So nice little package there, Denis. Denis, N6HRO, has a couple kits that he's bought, but he's kind of had to set them aside because he's moving, so they're packed away. One is a BitX40, which he has mounted, but he needs to wire up yet. And the other radio is a 40-meter QRP transceiver kit based on the World War II Paracet spy radio. When he gets moved and gets settled, he will continue working on his kits. I know how that feels. And our final project tonight is from Pat, W5WTH. And he writes me, there are plenty of ways to irritate your XYL with the obsession of ham radio. But if you feel you need just one more thing, keep watching. The black box is actually a clock. It's a cool clock if you know Morse code, but it's worthless if you don't. The brains of the clock is built around an ESP8266 with onboard Wi-Fi. At power up, the rig connects to the Wi-Fi and fetches the correct time. It's then ready to send out the time in Morse code at 10 words a minute. Let's give a listen. So if you're interested in irritating your wife, you can go to his website, www.whiskeytangohotel.com, 2018 12 Internet Time Morse Code Clock, for all the plans and all the source codes. Have fun, build it up, and beep away. So that's all the projects tonight. If you've been building something, modifying it, doing some soldering, some 3D printing, send some photos and a description of your project to me at hamprojects@twit.tv, and we'll get you on Ham Nation. So that's all for tonight. 73 Randy, K7AGE.